Welcome back, ladies and gents. In this video, I am unfortunately going to be somewhat defending Binance yet again, which is something that I am not particularly happy about having to do. However, behind me, you are looking at a letter that was signed from a number of senators, such as Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, essentially outright accusing Binance of basically fraud. Now, I'm for regulations. However, done right. And actually, I think that with what's going on with Binance is far more than just about regulations and is more about actually taking out the competition. Because Binance is the number one cryptocurrency market or the number one cryptocurrency exchange in the world. And it's my belief that regulations are going to bring in institutions. And institutions, like they do in every space, certainly the stock market is a great example, come in and they capitalize it. And Binance and CZ stand in their way. Now, it's a very strange situation that I find myself in defending a centralized entity, but I actually think centralized entities in the cryptocurrency market have a role to play, certainly with the onboarding and offboarding of capital into this space. But this is shocking, some of the things that we're seeing. Now, first of all, it was the Paxos BUSD, which basically means that BUSD is now not going to be used, and Binance have said that themselves. The second that news broke, came out and made a video saying, we're swapping all our BUSD to another crypto, another stablecoin, because we just don't want the hassle. We don't think it's insolvent. We think it's backed by a dollar, so you're going to be able to get a dollar out, but we don't want the inconvenience. We don't want to have to go and ask Paxos for a dollar back if that's the last resort. And actually, Binance as an exchange has a massive target on their back for the reasons that I've just mentioned. And it's something you've got to take into account. And we've been saying this before this letter was even published, that CZ and Binance have a huge target on their head for no other reason than the competition. Competition is not good for these people. And they have a habit of getting rid of them. Is this potentially what we're seeing? And remember, I am pro-regulations, by the way. In the United States, the only way you avoid regulations is if you overthrow, or the people that are in charge get overthrown. Now, I think more than likely that's not going to happen, and actually they're going to regulate the space. And this is when, we talk about these 1 billion users or mass adoption. Mass adoption happens with regulations. So I'm for regulations, but this seems more of a coordinated attack. And we had Gensler recently meeting with Sam Bankman-Fried, and we know and the issues happened with FTX really on Binance's tweet when he said he was going to start dumping the FTT token. And we know the saga that unfolded from that. We covered it all on the channel. Guys, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you do so. You will stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the cryptocurrency market, news-wise, and also from a price perspective as somebody that does it all. We also had more news before we dive into this article that the SEC objected to Voyager's Binance.us deal. And this was actually questioned by the judge. So the SEC again going after Binance. This is from Crypto Potato Official. Binance Voyager deal. This is what a US judge responded to the SEC attorney who failed to provide specific arguments. Deliberative is one thing, but what have you done? If there are reasons to be concerned here, I need to hear specifics. So they're even trying to stop Binance from buying Voyager. It's a real coordinated effort. So let's get into this, guys. This was published on the 1st of March. It's labeled to Xiaopeng Zhao, and obviously the CEO of Binance. You can see they have their address, which of course would be registered in the Cayman Islands. And then you can see who it's addressed to. So Brian Schroeder is the other individual. This is public, by the way, guys. So Mr. Zhao and Mr. Schroeder, we write to request information regarding going concerns over the finances, risk management, and regulatory compliance of Binance and Binance.us and other regulated entities. Amid the turbulence unleashed upon the crypto market by the swift collapse of the crypto exchange FTX, Binance now faces investigations into criminal sanction, evasion, money laundering conspiracy, unlicensed money transmission, questions about its financial health, and increased scrutiny over its intentional, opaque corporate structure, despite calls for greater transparency from customers, financial experts, the US Congress, and authorities around the world, and commitments to transparency from Mr. Zhao himself. The core of the business remains mostly hidden from the public view. Meanwhile, what little information about Binance's finances is available to the public suggests that the exchange is a hotbed for illegal finance activity that has facilitated over $10 billion in payments to criminals and sanction evaders. What? Now remember, this is just a letter, so they haven't been charged with any of this. But this is what the United States, the government, are questioning Binance over. This is just ridiculous. The catastrophic collapse of FTX. Sam Bankman-Fried was a Trojan horse. This guy should never be allowed back in the crypto space, because he is a 100% Trojan horse. And figure out what I mean by a Trojan horse. So the catastrophic collapse of FTX has only underscored the need for real transparency and accountability in the crypto industry. Binance is the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange by volume, with over 120 million users globally, meaning that it's uniquely positioned to facilitate illicit finance transactions at an unparalleled scale. And do people not realize the most used currency for illicit financial activity is the US dollar? So what does he go into illicit scale? Imperiling the savings of millions of everyday users. CZ and Binance have been nothing but upfront and trustworthy thus far. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that something isn't going to go on down the line. And like I say, huge target on their back. But I disagree with this. So retail investors are owed a full, unobstructed view of the relevant operations of the company they entrust with their assets. Your company's apparent attempts at evading the enforcement of anti-money laundering laws, security laws, information reporting requirements, and other financial regulations cast serious doubt on the stability and legitimacy of Binance and its relative entities, and on your commitment to your customers. In the years since Binance was founded, the company has faced increasing disturbing allegations regarding the legality of its operations. Mr. Zhao declined to disclose the location or entity behind his own exchange. He's just legally doing what he can. By the way, you are allowed to do that. In what many regards as a blatant attempt to dodge the world's financial regulators, severe users without licenses, and violate anti-money laundering laws. Recent investigations reveal that your company have implemented a series of systems specifically designed to circumvent regulatory oversight. They've had to, by the way, because you've not given any clear regulation. This gets me fired up because it pisses me off more than anything. Like, bring something that is, genuine to the table. And then we can all say, yeah, you messed up there. Let's improve on that. But what you're doing, where were you for FTX? You're now looking at an organization that, quite frankly, I think has been very transparent and upfront. And you're attacking them. And, I personally think that this is the regulators are acting as the bulldogs for the institutions that are behind them that want to come in and have no competition in this space and monopolize it, because that's what they're going to do. It's coming 100%. Goes on to talk about a number of things. So it then goes and lists evading US regulators shortly after Binance's 2017. Let's look at some of the accused And then we'll wrap this video up, guys. I won't keep you here for too much longer. I'm going to leave a link to this in the description. Please go and give this a read. This is going to be a bit of a longer video. Hopefully you guys appreciate this sort of content where it's just me giving it to you as I'm reading it. This is the first time me reading this, by the way, guys. So evading US regulators. Shortly after Binance's 2017 launch, roughly 1/3 of its users were US based. However, the company did not register with the US Department of Treasury Department, as it's required of financial companies with substantial businesses in the United States to do so. By the Bank Secretary Act. Instead, it attempted to insulate Binance from US oversight. Mr. Zhao approved a plan to set up a US-based exchange to draw US regulators' attention away from the main platform. Not really. He did that to comply with the laws you put in place. So the resultant platform, Binance US registered with the Treasury Department and offered a limited suite of products offerings with the intentions of reducing attractiveness of enforcement. Oh my goodness. That's not why he did it. He did it to comply with the law. So you put down a law. He didn't do it initially with Binance, and then he said, okay, we need to do this. Let's set up a separate branch, Binance US, and deal with the US specifically. And now you're saying, oh, well, he only did that because he wanted to take regulators' attention away from it. Not really. I know people in the US that have to use Binance US, and they don't like using it because the actual product, Binance, offers you far more. Because Binance US is trying to comply with these guys. This just doesn't hold water. And look at the references they're using. Reuters. Reuters are a credible source of news, by the way. But, Wall Street Journal, DFS.N, Washington Post. They're using these references, by the way. CNBC, Reuters, Binance, so on and so forth. So where are we at? Of its US Securities and Exchange Commission or the regulators, it seems this diversion has failed. In 2020, the SEC issued Binance.US a subpoena requesting material documenting its relationship with Binance. Indeed, federal prosecutors have now subpoenaed US-based investment firms with ties to Binance as a part of their ongoing investigations into the company's potential violations of money laundering rules. In February 2023, the New York State Department of Financial Services, NFDFS, ordered Paxos, a trust company, to stop with the BUSD. While Mr. Zhao has claimed that Binance US is a fully independent entity, in reality, he controls the company as a de facto subsidiary of Binance. Wow. You are allowed to own something's not legally in your name. It's not legally in your name, right? Whether you have any outside influence on that or not, from a legal point of view, unless you can prove it legally, which is pretty hard to do, and I'm not a lawyer, by the way, guys. This is just my take on it. It's just not holding salt what these guys are saying, and they're literally quoting media articles. So, facilitating money laundering and sanction evaders. In the few years since its founding, Binance has laundered billions in crypto, moving at least $10 billion to criminals and sanction evaders. This is no accident. It appears that money laundering is central to Binance's business strategy. Wow. The accusations, guys. So much that Mr. Zhao himself has directed his so-called compliance team to substantially weaken the platform's anti-money laundering controls or do away with them completely. Binance staff, including its chief compliance officer and former global money laundering report officer, concern about the company's weak Know Your Customer KYC. In a message sent via encrypted message service Telegram, the chief compliance officer wrote, reduce KYC, raise limits, best combo. Oh, goodness. So Binance business strategy, guys, and if you think they're just going to stop at Binance, there's lots of exchanges out there that, you know, don't even ask for KYC. So lack of transparency, of course, is another thing. Binance as related entities have purposely evaded regulators, moved assets criminally. Please provide complete copies of Binance. So let's see what they're asking for. Please provide estimates of numbers and percentages of US-based users. Oh dear. Reports suggest that Mr. Zhao approved a plan in 2018 to create a company. The company called Tai Chi Entity. Nice. That could distract regulators with foreign compliance. And this is signed by Senator Warren, United States Senator Chris Van Hollen, United States Senator, and Roger Marshall. Wow. Crazy. And you got Gensler's name down here. Wow. Yeah, I don't really know what to even make of this. It's not good news, to be honest. You know, does this have something to do with crypto sell-off? For those of you that aren't familiar with my price updates, please go and do so. Maybe. I mean, the Silvergate thing's kind of damaging as well to the industry right now, and it kind of seems like a crypto-specific problem with the dollar being weak today. Stocks up, gold up, you know. So this could be the kind of issues that we're having. But let me know what you think about this in the comments, guys. I'll leave a link to this in the description. Please give it a read. My thoughts very much are that the regulators are acting as the kind of henchmen for the institutions, and they're just trying to eradicate the competition so that they can come in and you know, tip the board and pocket whatever's on it. Yeah, not good news, I don't think, and concerning, because you got to think, just like with BUSD, I don't have an issue with Binance's solvency. By the way, I think Chow's a good guy, or Zhao's a good guy. CZ, I think, is a good guy, and I think that Binance has been nothing but genuine thus far. Now, does that mean there's not going to be any skeletons in the closet that come out? No, not necessarily. But what I will say is that a lot of what's been levied against him is completely unreasonable, unrational, and actually lacks evidence, just like with them saying we don't want the Binance to buy Voyager. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. You know, and actually, isn't it interesting how they've gone after an actual backed stable coin and not the others out there, you know, that could be greater concern. But obviously, Binance being the biggest, big target on their back. Again, I think Sam Bankman will have something to do with this somewhere. That's all I've got for the video, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. Have a good Friday, and I'll see you all in the next one.